go through an introduction, which is and then an approach. We'll talk about a few concepts in strategy and management and a few principles. We won't do exercises. Case studies, I'll just be talking about a few of the clients and some of what I've faced as I'm doing this through the church. And then we will conclude. Then we'll have questions and answers. So the objectives to understand the strategy process, its role in the church, skills required for effective strategic management. Now, on the skills part, sorry, I didn't ask you who else spoke about what, but I sort of tried to get a general idea. If anyone has talked about what I'm talking about, please forgive me, because I'm just talking about the topic that I've been given. Number two, let's also agree that some of these points that I'm saying are not rocket science. So don't expect that everything I'm going to be saying is new. A lot of this you probably already know. But for the purposes of progress in this particular conference, I really pray that you will allow me to just go through for completeness. So I will assume zero knowledge of what I'm going to talk about, even though I know that different people have got different levels of appreciation of strategy. That serves two purposes. One, it allows us all to be at the same level. The Ghanaians have a proverb that says that don't judge a man's height without looking at the hole in which he is standing. You might actually think he's taller than he is. Okay, so it puts us all on the same level. Number two, it makes me feel better because no one is going to pull me back and say, I already know that. Because I've already said, even if you know, please assume you don't for the purposes of this. Okay, so let's just go ahead. Skills. One of the skills that I have found has really been difficult, made it difficult for us to implement. It's killing our church in terms of embracing anything that is progressive and is not originated from within the church is the listening skill. It is the least taught and the most underrated skill. Okay, people don't listen. And the unfortunate thing is that those of us who make a living by speaking are usually and almost inherently bad listeners. That does not exclude pastors. Those of us who make a living by speaking are inherently very bad listeners. And so when you're busy, when two people are talking, what usually happens is you just hear the first three words, and what you do is you engage gear and you start formulating your response. And as the other person is busy speaking, all you're seeing is lips moving. You're not actually listening. And you're just waiting for your opportunity to jump in. As soon as those lips stop moving, you jump in with your response. And you wonder why we never understand each other. We're still talking about change management for technology projects. We need to actually learn to listen to each other. It makes a whole lot of difference, especially when you are dealing with technology. Technology is something that we don't get intuitively. Your kids, our kids, my 11-year-old boy, you're talking about a PSP. On any given day, it doesn't matter how much time you spend on that PS machine, he will beat you. Any new piece of equipment, mobile phone or whatever it is, you give it to an 11-year-old, how come they get it better than we do? Because they learn it intuitively. Because in their generation, more things are that way. We need to accept that. Therefore, when you are talking to us and you're introducing new technology, even you as the technology expert, please learn to listen. The other group of people who have limited patience with those who don't understand what they understand are technologists, engineers, internet people. They have such limited patience. And we need to develop that. The challenge we're going to be facing here is not the technology challenge. The challenge we're going to be facing here is not the challenge of the content to put on the internet. The challenge we're going to be facing is how to face with the resistance. Okay. So that's one of the skills, but there are many others. The role of teamwork. You cannot do it alone. The technology people cannot do it alone. The users cannot do it alone. We need to set up those teams, and everyone has to get involved. It is crucial that we understand that. Then we need to understand how to manage change. You'll be looking at different types of resistance to change or dysfunctional behavior. And what we'll be looking at is for this type of resistance to change, and you know, most resistance to change actually comes as a result of ignorance. strategy and change management methodologies and the application of STOP. I'll very quickly go through that. Okay, I'm not going to take you through the detailed. Okay, that's some of the clients that we've worked for. But that's okay. We should not spend too much time on that. This presentation will be made available to you later. Okay. Okay, some of the questions. You know, there are certain environments where we discourage certain questions in a culture of suppressing vocal people. Of course, that doesn't happen in the SDA church. I'm talking about this other environment. Don't worry about it. I mean, this is just talking about those other guys. Discouraging certain questions in order to suppress vocal people. Now, in strategy and change management, this is the paradigm. The paradigm is as follows. Each time you introduce a change, each time you introduce anything new, there will always be resistance. Not sometimes. Are you with me? Each time you introduce anything new, there will always be resistance. Why? Because in any status quo, there is someone who is benefiting. Say that again. In any situation, even where you are, there is always someone who is benefiting. So if you're going to change anything at all, someone is going to start pulling out their calculator and saying, okay, what will this mean to me? So that's the one side of the coin. Let's look at the corollary to that argument. And it is as follows. That if, therefore, there will always be resistance, then whenever we announce a change, we should always expect resistance. A good change manager, therefore, a good technology practitioner, therefore, is extremely and gravely concerned when they talk about a change and they see no manifestation of resistance. So it's the other way around. We function this way. You announce a change, you keep your fingers crossed, toes crossed, knees crossed, hoping no one resists. A good change manager announces a change. If there's no resistance, he pauses. Someone is lying to me. Someone is not telling the truth. There can never be a change where everyone embraces it. No. Am I making sense? This is crucial. Because we cannot fail to implement a project such as global internet evangelism in church. The technology is there, the people are there. But the issue is, whoever has questions, when you first announce a change, expect resistance. So what we teach is that change and resistance are like left foot, right foot. Change, resistance. That's how progress happens. Change, resistance. Now you can imagine if you expect change only, it's like you're hoping, isn't it? That's how it is. That's the only way it's going to happen. So each time you say change, expect the resistance. If the resistance has not been expressed, it's not because it does not exist. It's because maybe you have been like my president. You've been suppressing. And so people are just afraid to express it. And so we're going to look at another model called Kurt Lewin, where he says the first thing you must do is unfreeze people. If people are so used to being suppressed, then allow people to speak. That's part of the problems I've been facing when I've been taking these workshops around the church, in the conferences and fields. Because people are asking, if we give you these ideas, where are they going? Who are you submitting them to? Are they going to the president of the union? And from there, they're going to the division. Is my job going to be safe? Those are the real issues, isn't it? We can either want to make this a very elegant conference where we talk about all other issues except the real issues, or we can actually say what the issues are going to be. Fine. So these questions need to be encouraged. Okay, everything should be. A professor of mine at university used to say, and I can see I've got a number of graduates who I have trained here in my rounds in the fields and conferences, and they will recognize this from those training sessions, that there is no such thing as a stupid question. There is no such thing as a stupid question. Only answers can be stupid. So anyone who says that's a stupid question is because they don't have the Number two, there is such a thing as a stupid person. That is someone who, having a question, does not